Okay, it's 2 o'clock. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. It's exciting to be with you all virtually today. My name is Kira Dickey, and I'm the Market Development Manager here at Perceptive. I'm excited to be your host today alongside my colleague, Sheena Gibson. Before we dive in, just a couple housekeeping items. This session is being recorded, and we'll share the recording along with additional resources with all registrants. We're going to wrap up the content today in 30 minutes, but we'll stick around for further discussion at the end. Also, feel free to use the chat for any questions. Here's a quick look at our agenda. First, we're going to give you guys some background on peer learning, some research on peer review and assessment, and the types of assignments that can be enhanced with peer review. Then we'll discuss a few case studies of legal instructors already using peer review for IRAC assignments, bar prep, and legal writing. Then Sheena will give us a peek into what those assignments would look like with Perceptive. And like I mentioned earlier, we'll close with time for Q&A at the end. But feel free to put questions or comments into the chat throughout the presentation. So with that, let's get started. To kick things off, let's dive into the research that forms the foundation of Perceptive. Perceptive is the culmination of over 20 years of rigorous research conducted primarily at the University of Pittsburgh's Learning Research and Development Center. This research, led by Dr. Christian Shun, has significantly shaped our understanding of peer learning and peer assessment. And there are 3 key findings from this research that I want to highlight today. First, we've learned that student learning improves the most when students are actively involved in providing feedback to their peers. This happens for multiple reasons. Students are more engaged when providing feedback than when they're simply passively receiving it. They work through the instructor's rubric and understand the expectations more clearly, and it gives them the opportunity to see positive and negative examples. Second, when it comes to student writing, feedback from multiple peers leads to greater improvement than feedback from a single peer or a single expert. This is because multiple perspectives help students see their work from different angles and gain new ideas. And thirdly, the research shows that assessment by multiple peers is just as valid and reliable as assessment done by a single expert. This finding is crucial because it highlights the benefits of peer assessment as a tool for both formative and summative evaluations. So now that we've discussed the research foundation, let's talk about how Perceptive takes those insights and turns them into real benefits for your students and your courses. First, Perceptive improves learning outcomes by fostering active engagement. When students are involved in assessing their peers, they're not just passive recipients of knowledge, they're actively engaged with that material, which leads to deeper understanding and retention. Secondly, Perceptive plays a crucial role in developing the soft skills that are highly valued in the legal profession. Through peer assessment, students enhance their critical thinking, communication, and collaboration abilities. Skills that are essential not only in their studies, but also in their future legal careers. Perceptive also incentivizes student engagement in a way that leads to higher retention and completion rates. By making students active participants in the learning process, we see increased motivation and persistence. Additionally, Perceptive supports evidence-based formative assessment by giving you the tools to provide each student with timely, actionable feedback. This not only helps students improve in real time, but also provides you with valuable learning data that can be used to personalize instruction and support each student's unique learning. As you can see here, Perceptive is already trusted by law schools across the country. These institutions are leveraging our platform to enhance their legal education programs, ensuring their students are well prepared for the demands of the profession. Each of these schools has integrated Perceptive to drive better outcomes, foster essential skills, and support their students' success from the classroom to the courtroom. Peer assessment can be used with a variety of legal assignments, and Sheena will talk about that more later, but it could be used with videos of lawyer-client role plays to simple formative assessments that students could benefit from feedback on. Rubrics for evaluating legal writing styles, such as the IRAC method, are already available and can be easily customized to your course. Now let's dive into a real-world example of that IRAC method in Perceptive. Professor Jack Graves has effectively used Perceptive to enhance his students' understanding of the IRAC method. He teaches at Syracuse Law and assigns a partial and full IRAC assignment using Perceptive for his commercial transaction course. Over the course of the semester, students complete 2 assignments where they identify and lay out multiple issues in a legal dispute. They then state the applicable rules and application of the rules to legal facts. Each assignment uses the same rubric, which asks students to review their peers' writing in terms of how it identifies, describes, and organizes a legal argument. Students learn as they rate and comment on their peers' work, improving writing and outcomes over the course of the semester. Like I mentioned earlier, this rubric is already available in Perceptive, which makes getting started easy, and running the assignment semester after semester is entirely hands-off for Jack. And it's really a win-win for students because they receive more individualized feedback faster than Jack can reasonably provide, and it's hands-off for Jack. So now let's talk about peer assessment for bar prep. Perceptive has been successfully used in a bar prep course at Monterey Law by Professor Ann Clark. In her course, students write a practice evidence essay that addresses a specific case and mimics a question they might see on the bar exam. After submission, students compare the similarity of peers' responses with the model answer. And this allows students to practice giving and receiving a high-level feedback while they begin to internalize the standards that they will be tested on during the bar exam. And you can read the quote from Anne yourself, but the students have said that they really learn a lot from seeing their peers' writing and the model example. And there simply wouldn't be time during her 1-hour course to go over and analyze the examples and still teach the required content. Now we're going to spend some time talking about iterative writing. Legal writing can be difficult for law students to master because it is a significant departure from how students are asked to write in undergrad courses. And this is something that Susan Bakshian of Loyola Law School emphasized when she was on a webinar with us in the past. She said, if you're a good writer, if you're a good editor, you're a good writer. I don't talk about these comments as rating their peers' work. I focus on them commenting on their peers' work, the way that lawyers comment on other lawyers. This makes students realize that they're learning an important skill that they would use in their job, and that editing is just as crucial for their careers as writing. She also said, ever since I have started using this, I have seen my weakest students perform better. She uses peer assessment through Perceptive with a variety of assignments at a variety of levels. In fact, students who return to Bakshian's classroom for higher level courses are often excited to be able to use Perceptive again because they get to see their peers' opinions, get good ideas, and see how they compare, which Bakshian says is particularly useful for students who find themselves way off the mark. She said during the webinar, several students have said to me, had I seen this in Perceptive my first year, it would have changed my grades, and it would have changed my law school experience. I've been doing a lot of very basic things wrong, and I see that now. If you want to learn more about specific assignments from Bakshian's course and hear this directly from her, I've linked a video clip of her in the webinar slides, and I will share this after we wrap today, where she explains several use cases from her course in detail and gives it's a full 16 minutes on her course. Just to quickly touch on another professor who uses Perceptive for iterative writing tasks, Hilary Wandler at the University of Montana. She also emphasizes the need for students to not only draft legal documents, but also critically review their peers' work. As she puts it, there are 2 key skills that my students have to learn: how to draft legal documents and how to review other people's legal documents. Part of a lawyer's job is commenting on your colleagues' legal writing to make sure that their work is good and high quality. New lawyers have to have that talent, but I hadn't been able to teach this skill before Perceptive. That wraps up the case studies. So now I'm going to pass the screen share to Sheena to demonstrate how peer review actually works in Peerceptive.
The reviews and the helpfulness of the reviews that students provide. And then students can submit peer assessment assignments either individually or as a group. We don't see group assignments being used as often in our law courses, but it is possible in Peerceptive if you do use group work. Next, we have a live presentation option. It's very similar to peer assessment. The process is roughly the same. However, where peer assessment can be double blind, where students don't know who they're reviewing or who reviewed them, live presentations is single blind. So someone's presenting at the front of the room and the students are able to review that presenter on their phone or on their laptops in real time. And in this case, it's single blind. The reviewers are anonymous, but obviously the presenters are not. And live presentations can also happen individually or as a group. If you do have group work, we also have a team member evaluation tool where students can evaluate the quality of participation in group activities. So the quality of collaboration within the group, kind of a way for instructors to keep an eye on whether students are all pulling their weight and collaborating equally. And then we do have some other custom assignment types where instructors could upload exemplar and non-exemplar submissions, articles, or case studies for students to review. So we do see that sometimes used in our law courses where they're uploading some, a good example and a bad example, and students have to review both of them and kind of describe why one is good and the other is not so good. Briefly, our peer assessment process. This submission is anonymous and Peerceptive takes care of the automated distribution of documents. We have a dynamic reviewing system so that the least reviewed document is always reviewed next. Instead of passing out submissions to everyone all at once, it's a dynamic process so that students can receive a submission, review it, and then they receive another one and review it, and then everyone gets reviewed evenly. We found that the reviewing process, when it's anonymous, makes it much more bias-free, and students feel much more comfortable participating in critical analysis. So after you have the submission and review process, we then have two optional phases. We have a feedback phase where students can read the reviews their work received, rate them for helpfulness, and reply back to their reviewers. And that's really nice for holding students accountable for participating in the reviewing process. They know that their review comments are going to be read and rated for helpfulness. And when they reply back to their reviewers, they're completing that feedback loop. So students can really engage in a dialogue in the process, which is really nice too. We also have an optional reflection phase. This is the final assignment phase where students could reflect on their results. So this could replace the feedback phase or it could follow the feedback phase. And this would be where students see all of the comments they received, see all of the average ratings they received, and then they're guided through reflection questions where they can say, this is what I want to improve my work for next time, or these are the suggestions I found useful, and this is how I'm going to improve. And then lastly, Peerceptive does generate grades around the process. Right. So next I'm going to get into the tool and show you what it looks like. Okay. So right now I'm actually in Peerceptive, and this is what it looks like on the part of the instructor. I do want to show you what it looks like on the side of the student. So I'm going to go to progress here, and I'm going to act as this student and show you what this looks like from the student's perspective. Okay. So this is what the student sees. We do integrate with many LMSs. So we're integrated with Canvas, Brightspace, Moodle, Sakai, also some less commonly well-known LMSs. So if you're interested, chances are we're going to be able to integrate with your LMS. Students will click the link in the LMS course. They'll get taken directly to Peerceptive. It's single sign-on. They don't need a password or login information. So it's really seamless and easy on the part of the students. So as a student here, I'm able to submit. This student has already submitted. So if I click View Submission, I can see what I submitted here. And this is just a basic document assignment. So it's loading in the window here. I can also take a look at the rubric. And again, the rubrics are highly customizable. This is our sample IRAC rubric. We have comment prompts where students can leave qualitative comments on the work, and then we have rating prompts where students can select the numerical level. We generally recommend having both in your rubric because students can engage in critical analysis through using the comment prompt, and then they're able to engage with objective criteria by using the rating prompts. Right. So the next task for the student to do is to start review 2 here. We always let students know what they need to work on next. So start review 2. Hold on one second. I may have acted as the wrong student here. I'm going to stop my share for a minute. And go in as a different student. Okay, let me share my screen again. All right, so I'm in here as a different student. I'm going to click Start Review 1. We offer some tips for helpful commenting, letting students know that they should point out the strengths of the submission, offer specific ideas for how to improve their work. We let them know how to use the pin icon, and then they can get started. So they'll see the document on one side of the screen, and if this was a video, they'd see the video here. And then they can go through the rubric and they can comment on different aspects of the work. So here we want to comment on how clearly the issue is identified and stated and describe any strengths and areas for improvement. So the student would comment on the statement of the issue, and you'll notice that they're able to see how many words their comment is in the box. So if an instructor says, the comment needs to be 50 words, they're able to keep track of that. And then when they're done, they can actually pin this comment to the submission. So if I want to pin it to a specific location in the work, I can do that. You'll notice we do not allow for inline text editing or annotation. And the reason is because we've found that students tend to get lost in copy editing and they lose focus on the work. So really the point of peer assessment and peer review is not to spend all of your time copy editing, but to really think about the big picture, how the work can be improved in terms of the legal requirements and the assignment objectives. Click next. And now this is a rating prompt, so students are going to receive some tips for accurate rating. And now we're looking at, okay, the identification of the issue, rating how well the issue was identified, and I can select that. And students can continue to look at the work on one side. So click next, rate how well the issue is stated. And now we're looking at commenting on the writer's ability to state the relevant rules in this case, what was clear, not clear. And again, all of these rubric rating prompts and comment prompts are completely customizable. And again, I can make a pin if I would like. Click next. And finish. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to that student who I had acted as before, because I had meant to act as them second, and show you what the feedback phase looks like. So now this student has received a review, so they can give feedback on the review that they received. So now they see a rubric on rating the helpfulness of the comments. So now I'm looking at my document that I submitted, and this comment is the comment that my peer gave me, and it's giving me some helpful information. So I'm going to rate, okay, this comment is more helpful than average or slightly more helpful than average, because I want to let them know, yeah, this was really helpful. Thanks for these suggestions. If there's anything that the questions that the student has, they can ask the reviewer questions about what the reviewer wrote here. So we're really helping to continue this dialogue around the work and feedback that they received on the work. Okay, so that's what I had planned to show you today. I'm going to send this back to Kira so that she can wrap things up for us. And you're muted, Kira.
Thanks, Sheena. Yeah, I'm having a little rough go of the technical things today. I realized while you were giving our demo that I did not return the recording on. So I apologize for that. But I do want to mention one last thing before we close. So if you're wondering how to get started, but if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, we wanted to let you know that Peerceptive support is available 24/7. Sheena and the rest of the team are US-based former educators who have certifications in instructional design, and they're more than happy to help you get started. You can meet with them by scheduling an appointment or dropping on into their office hours, and they can help you add a peer learning step to an existing assignment or create something new, completely tailored to your course. They can also help with our team member evaluation or live presentations tools, which we didn't really discuss today. But troubleshooting, they can help with that too. They're there 24/7 for you guys. And we've been getting some questions about price during our webinar, so I wanted to let you know that access to Peerceptive can be purchased online or through the university bookstore directly by students for $22.50 per course, which is much less than a textbook. Or Peerceptive can be licensed on a per course basis for an entire department, college, or program, or at the university level. Many universities already have a campus-wide subscription with Peerceptive, meaning you and your students could get started right away for free. To find out more information about getting started in your course or at your school, email info@peerceptive.com. And with that, that's the end of our presentation. So I want to thank you all for coming and sitting with us through the technical difficulties. I appreciate you taking your time out of your summer break to learn about peer assessment. If you have any questions, we have a couple minutes and we'll stick around to answer them. Thank you.